This is for the Terran Kitchen remodel. This is a residential remodel. It is, I would say, about 200 square feet. The project was completed in March of 2024. The client's the duration was about a year. Clients' goals were they wanted to renovate their kitchen. They wanted more storage. They liked better cabinets that were more contemporary and not as yellow. They really wanted to maximize storage and create a pantry. They didn't know how to do that. One challenge was that there was not really much room for a pantry, but I found a coat closet that was basically off of the stair behind the kitchen that we were able to use as a folding spice rack and pantry. You can see that in some of the pictures where it slides all the way out. So that was my idea. There was also issues with, there was a little kind of breakfast nook, but it was not being utilized as well as it could have. They wanted more storage over there. They wanted to be able to store baking equipment, mixing equipment that was pretty tall, put a coffee machine on the countertop. They didn't know where to put the microwave. So I suggested using a drawer microwave because it tucks the microwave away. They really liked that idea. And then I also, they wanted to create some matching archways. There was an archway between the kitchen and the dining. They wanted to do that in every room, or there was an archway somewhere, and they wanted to create arches everywhere. So basically, I think there was an archway between the living and the dining, and so I created these archways in the kitchen as well to match the existing architecture. And in order to do that, I took measurements, really careful measurements of the existing kitchen, and then I laid it out so the arches were perfectly symmetrical. The breakfast nook was then transformed into a storage space that also has a lot of storage, or it had a bunch of cabinets in there. And I also was able to redesign the opening so that it allowed for a little bit more space on the adjacent countertop, and then it was centered over the window. So there was some really minor tweaks that made the kitchen layout more symmetrical and laying out primary sight lines that made the kitchen feel like the design was more balanced. The style that they were going for is kind of like a contemporary modern French kitchen, really clean. The bronze handles were a part of that concept. They wanted something very functional, but also something that would express some personality. They loved traveling to France, so I think that's part of their personality. Also, I came up with the idea for the black and steel range hood, the custom range hood. That was kind of bringing a more contemporary touch to the more of a traditional style design. I worked with a local fabricator called Evil Metal Works that was able to, they're located in Monroe, and they were able to bring my concept to life. They were able to fabricate that custom steel hood. I think that's part of my brand, is always wanting to bring something special to elevate every design. And for me, that range hood was part of what made this project special and unique and custom and different from everything else you see in magazines. There were some structural adjustments that needed to be made for the framing of the openings, but there was no construction permit needed because they were all interior walls, non-structural. I increased the number of outlets, also electrical outlets, in the project to bring it up to code, and that just makes their kitchen so much more functional. They said they really enjoyed having all of the different outlets. We did those in bronze, the cover plates in bronze as well, which tied the kitchen together, so there was an electrical permit needed. The white subway tile and light colored quartz countertops were selected to make that small kitchen feel larger. And then the high contrast black colored light fixture was used to try to make those stand out. And the bronze handle pulls and bronze sink faucet and light switch and outlet covers tied all of those metals together. And the cabinets were all white oak, rift sawn white oak, made by a local cabinet maker called Hacienda Woodworks, and they're really great cabinet maker locally. So we were able to use shaker cabinet style and having a top trim piece with wood, kind of a ceiling trim, but do it out of rift sawn white oak. So it's a traditional style or a transitional style, but done with more elevated modern materials in the white oak. They didn't want any yellow in the wood. Their old wood was this yellow maple, and they wanted to really desaturate and get more of grays in the wood instead of the yellow. So we were able to achieve that with white oak. The functionality was just greatly improved by all of the different really functional cabinetry. Corner cabinets have the added benefit of corner cabinet pullouts, so you're using all of this space. Also, I changed a lot of the cabinet styles from doors to drawers. They had these really strange doors that then had these drawers inside, and instead we just separated them into individual drawers that are big enough to store a variety of kitchen appliances and Tupperware and all that kind of stuff. And it was just much more efficient. Even having storage above the fridge, you can see we really maximized all the space. Also, the farmhouse sink with the bronze fixture really accentuated the French design style, and then having symmetrical outlets around the sink was also part of the design. So we thought about every little detail. I worked collaboratively with the clients who had an idea of what type of style they wanted, the type of wood for the cabinets, even the type of sink. And so I actually used all of those in helping them select contractors. So that was really a group effort there. The clients are really excited about it. They thought it turned out really well. And we have some testimonials from the clients. She even filmed a video, an ad. One major design move that I forgot was that we opened up the opening between the kitchen and the living room, so there's much more light coming into the dining room. In between, we increased the opening between the kitchen and the dining room, and so by about 18 inches, and just that 18 inches allows a lot more light from the kitchen window to pour into the dining room and then all the way into the living room. The clients have young children, and they always want sight lines of their children to be able to, when they're playing. So that move really allowed them to have more control over their environment with the young children. I think that this project was so successful that the next time they want to renovate their basement, they'll probably call me. I also collaborated with Evil Metalworks, the fabricator of the steel hood, because I knew exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know quite what type of chemical treatment you needed to get that blackened look. And so we decided on a product. He suggested a product that I'd already kind of heard of. It was a blackening agent, and now I know how to get that effect in the future. And it just is a chemical treatment for the blackening and then a light wax over the top of the steel. So that was a lesson learned for me that was only possible because of the collaboration I had with the steel fabricator.